Hello everyone, this is the third video of a 5-video series on the basics of Java. Today we will learn more about the different variable types and specifically the primitives. First we will go over the basics of variables. Variables are objects that reference a type of data, like a text or an integer. Each variable has a name like myInteger or myString, which allows the computer to know what data is associated with each variable. Variables also have types where specific data types must be stored. This means that a variable that is assigned to numbers can only have numbers, and a variable that's assigned to text can only have text. There are 8 different primitive types: Boolean, byte, char, short, int, long, float, and double. You might notice that next to each type there is a number of bits that the type can store. That is the key difference of primitive types. Additionally, each primitive type is lowercase, and in code, lowercase variable types are referred for only the primitives. We'll see more about what that means later on. What is a bit? Next to each of those variable types, we had how many bits were in the variable. 1 bit is a single piece of data that is either 0 or 1. It is the easiest way to store data and is what composes the binary number system. For instance, here we have an 8-bit number with 3 ones and 5 zeros. And since there's 8 bits, so the number of combinations is 256. So these are the different types of primitive types that can store integers. We have a byte, short, int, and long. And then next to each of these types, I wrote down the maximum value for each variable type. So a byte can have 127, and a long is exponentially higher than. Now the reason you wouldn't always use a long is to be efficient with storage. If you know that your number you're using is going to be very small, you don't need to have a maximum value of over 9 quadrillion. You could just use a smaller value like an integer or a short. That's the advantage of these primitive types, that you can allocate the specific amount of memory you need for each number. Floating point numbers are numbers that have decimals. So the number like 1.5 or 2.5 can be represented as a float or a double. And a float has a maximum value of 3.4 times 10 to the 38, and a double has a maximum value of 1.8 times 10 to 308. Which are both very large numbers, and a double is a bigger version of a float. Two other notable primitive types are char and boolean. Char is essentially like a single character, like A or B or C, and a boolean is just one single bit, so 0 or 1, and in code this is often represented as true or false. If we head into our compiler, we can see what this means. So to show the data capability, so first we're going to go to the spelling of these types. So in Java, all the primitive types are protected. So if you type them correctly, they will light up. So you type an int, it'll become blue. You have byte, short, and char, and float and double, the same thing. These variables are always lowercase, which tells Java that it's a primitive type. And what we can see is, like, let's say we made a short value equals 128. So 128 is outside of the range of a short. Sorry, not short. If we made it a byte, 128 is too big. So if we execute this code, we will see that error is incompatible because 128 is too large to fit into a byte. But now if we make this an integer and run this code, nothing will happen because 128 is a good size for an integer. Most of the primitive types are numbers, but there are 2 that aren't. So we have char character, which is a single character, and these characters are denoted by single quotes, and then you can put in any character in the alphabet or even numbers. And then also you have booleans, which can either be true in lowercase or false, which are useful for conditional statements, which is something that we will learn later on. So these are the basic primitive types in Java, which can be used as a foundation for many different programs. Thank you for watching, and next time we will learn about the more about the Boolean type.